Okay, in this video, what I'm going to be doing is just doing sort of a review of this particular humane mousetrap that I bought from Amazon. And so normally when people do reviews, they just get the trap and, get the item, and then they'll just show you around it and say, yeah, it looks nice and it seems solid, etc. But this review is actually going to be a hands-on one where we actually get to see what the mouse thinks of it as well. So basically, this is the trap that I bought, and I think it was this same one as well. And as you can see, it's they have the usual ad information about it. But the main thing is that it's quite a decent trap, but there are certain things you have to be careful of, and so. These are just the pictures showing you like how the trap is used. One thing though, you see all these pictures where it looks as if the mouse is eager to get into it, but that's not necessarily the case. But the main thing is that the trap is well built, as you'll see. But there's a few things you have to do in order to make it effective. Okay, so now. We'll show you the video of actually what the mouse itself thinks, or the mice I should say, think of this trap. Okay, so now it's time to get on with the action. So as you can see, the trap's in place, and we have our first test mouse coming to check it out. And so one thing you'll notice about mice if you recorded them is that they don't immediately know where the food is. So it actually takes quite a lot of investigation for them to find it. So as you can see, it can see the trap, but it's not too interested in it. So it's just doing the usual thing of looking around. And so it's come across, the usual patrol route. So it can smell something, but it's not too interested. And it's mostly because the trap's in the way, but it can obviously tell something's there. But as you can see, it's not interested in going in. So here it comes again, still trying to get out. You can smell the food, but doesn't know how to get there. And so, as you can see, it's not really that interested in going into the trap, even though it knows there's something there. So now it basically gets out and has a quick, sniff around the back, but obviously it can't actually access the food. So as you can see, it's not really that interested in getting to where the food is. So what I did is I repositioned the trap, and we have this next mouse that is also just investigating. You can see it's more interested in trying to get out. Because as you can see, I've arranged things in such a way so that it can't easily get out of where it is. But even though it can't get out, it's still not that interested in the trap, as you can see. So it's just going around, sniffing around the usual places and still ignoring the trap. See, it's not even trying to sniff it. So even though possibly the smell of food could be there, it's as if the mice don't know what direction it's in. So it's like they literally have to be on top of the food before they can actually know how to get to it. So now it's just trying to get out. So it's more. So as you can see, this mouse is more interested in trying to get out than it is actually in trying to find any food that it can smell. So now it's trying again. And so it's more desperate, and then it succeeds. So that's all it really cared about. So now here comes the next mouse. So it had a quick look at the trap, and then it's off again. But as you notice, so now this is where I've adjusted the trap so that there's actually a trail of bait on the paper, because as you noticed before, the mice weren't really that interested in going into the trap. even though they knew food was somewhere, they could smell it, but they didn't, link that to actually, that it's in this hole is where the food is. So this one can smell something as well. But as you see, it's ignoring the front. So now it sniffs the trap, and finally it finds the bait, which is at the front. And so it's tasting it, and it obviously likes the taste of it. And the important thing is, notice it stretched its head in. So once it stretches that head in, now it can actually see what's in there and can smell the rest of the food. But of course, as any safe mouse does, it investigates first. So it's not, notice it doesn't go straight in. It's having a sniff around, different places. I don't know why. Maybe it's checking for predators, but now it's back to the food, and it obviously likes the taste of it. And so now it's time for it to actually go in and try to get the big food at the end, and there you go, it's trapped. So as you notice is that this trap is actually dependent on, you have to rely on the mouse itself to actually want to go in the trap. And even then, you have to actually make it so that the bait is in a position where the mouse can actually, look and notice there's something else, there's other food that's in there. And you notice that first mouse, even though the bait was at the front, it just ignored it. So sometimes that's one thing you find with this trap, is that it can actually be, whether it works, it can actually be dependent on, if the mouse is actually interested in, what it sees, or sometimes they're aware of the trap, as you see later on. But obviously this mouse it was a bit greedy, and the interesting thing is, now that it's trapped, you notice it has no interest in the food whatsoever. So that's one thing you'll find with mice, is that once they get trapped, all they're looking for is to work out how to escape. And the food they just completely ignore the food at this point. And so, alright, so that's the end of this part. So now the next part is just going to be looking at the actual, more of a close-up. And so there you have it. So the newest mouse YouTube star has been captured, finally. And I have to say that this particular mouse trap, it's the main good thing about it is actually the build quality. So once the mouse is actually in there, there is no way this mouse is getting out. The only problem I found is that the end cap, basically it's very hard to get off. So in the end, all I do is just fit it on and then just sellotape it so that it's easy to get off, because it took me actually took me quite a while to remove it, and so I didn't want to end up breaking it at some point. So all I did was just take it off the first time and then put the sellotape on it. But basically, as you saw in the videos before, the main problem with this mousetrap is the fact that where you put the food in at the end, so this is the end the mouse can smell, because it has those vents at the end. So you'll find sometimes the mouse will detect the bait at this end and won't bother going in through this end. And you saw that in the previous videos. So as you can see, I had to put a little trail down, and it's once I put the trail, that's when the mouse went in, and there you go. So when it comes down to it, this trap is actually, it's a very good, the build quality is good, and you notice I put a bolt there in order to increase the sensitivity, but I don't know if that was necessary with this mouse, because this wasn't the smallest mouse I've seen. But basically the mouse got a bit greedy and wanted the big prize at the end. But as you saw in the previous videos, it's almost as if the mouse can't tell the bait is at the end. And it's only once you put the initial bait at the beginning, then it sees the bait at the end. So it's like you have to sort of give it a bit of help in order go into the trap, but once it's on its way in, then that's when it's over. And I know, yeah, it looks as if the mouse is dead because it's not moving, but guess what? Come on. Yeah, there you go. So that mouse is definitely alive. And so what we'll do is we'll be doing the release later on today because it's a bit late at night at the moment. So once it's got a bit lighter, I'll do the release video so that you know that nothing was harmed during the making of this video. Okay, so now here I'm just carrying the mouse off to its release point. So basically what I'm doing is I'm actually walking across a common which is like up the top of the hill. So obviously you have to make sure that the wherever you release the mouse it's far away. And as you can see, I had to leave the mouse for a few hours, so during the time where I left it, it tore up the paper. Because I don't know, I suppose it was running about a bit trying to do something. And as you can also see, it's still, oh yeah, and that was the thing, it actually sort of urinated inside the trap as well. So that's the reason why the food looks all soggy. So I suppose that's one reason why it doesn't want to eat it. But this is one reason why you have to be careful with mice is that that's how they can spread disease, because they don't care about what they run through. Yeah, so as you can see, so I'm going through the middle of the park at the moment, so it's just beside the main road. Alright, so we've exited the park now, so I'm just on the road. So I'm not going to release it actually in the road, because basically the back entrance to the park is between some houses. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going around to release it right at the very top of the entrance to the park. Okay, so here I am at the final exit point. So now you get to see some of the struggles where just try to, because this is the first time I've tried to release a mouse from the trap, so I wasn't too good at it. And it did take me a bit longer than this, but I just cut out some of the unnecessary bits. So that's where I was struggling a bit. And then you're just gonna switch over. Alright, so now I finally managed to get it open. So now you can see the mouse is ready to get out. And then off it goes. Now, notice it ran the wrong way because I had it facing the wrong direction, but it's still near the end of the park anyway, and hopefully the residents there have sealed their houses, so it would have to go back into the park anyway. And this is the thing, is you always have to make sure to seal your house against mice anyway. Alright, so that's the end of this, well, sort of demonstration of this particular trap, and it, like I say, it is built very well and gets the job done. The only hard part is actually trying to convince the mouse to actually go inside it. Okay, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. And I'd also like to acknowledge my God as being the one who's given me the skill to be able to configure and set up these traps so that they can be used successfully.